Most would agree it is the biggest story of 2013, and it's not even over yet. The Obamacare rollout disaster.
You've probably heard that healthcare.gov hasn't worked as smoothly as it was supposed to work.
One of the greatest website disasters in history.
Do you have any idea what your insurance would jump up to at that point?
I'm locked out of the website.
You're encouraging people to go to a site that doesn't meet safety standards.
That's on me. We fumbled the rollout on this healthcare plan. If you like your healthcare plan, you'll be able to keep your healthcare plan, period.
They sent me a cancellation notice. I'm going to have to get new insurance.
Our group health plan has been canceled.
This is obviously an unmitigated disaster that will get worse.
And our panel joins us, the Weekly Standard Steve Hayes, The Hill's Elise Viebeck, and Washington Examiner Chief Political Correspondent Byron York. Welcome to you all. Steve, first to you. Could the rollout have been any worse?
It's hard to imagine how it could have been any worse. I mean, from the very beginning, you had the problems with the actual front end of the website. You've been seeing stories over the past several weeks about the extensive problems with the back-end data from the website. It's hard to imagine that, just from a technical standpoint, things could have been worse. And then you layer on top of that the fact that the president very clearly has had to go back on the main promise, I would say, in selling Obamacare. If you like your plan, you can keep it. And not only has he had to sort of break that promise, we understand very clearly that he was always intending to break that promise. It's in some ways at the center of Obamacare, how Obamacare works, is that of course people are going to be kicked off their plans. So this has been a disaster for the administration. I think it's been bad for the country, and it'll be something that we're no doubt going to be dealing with well into next year.
Elise, Steve brings up the president's promise, and I know that the White House always sort of makes Fox News a straw man, like we're the horrible people saying that he made this promise, didn't keep it. We're not the only ones. In fact, even NBC News on October 29th, the Obama administration knew millions could not keep their health insurance. Why in the world did they say that?
I mean, many of these promises were made when he was still trying to pass the law, and I think the point he was trying to make very imprecisely was that this law isn't going to necessarily disrupt the insurance plans for some Americans. It will for some, but won't for others, because many people obtain their insurance through their employers. Now, it's possible that employers will cancel their health care coverage and shift people into the exchanges, but the president was really nailed on this one because I think his words were imprecise.
But 6 million people at least got cancellation notices. It's not like how could they not have known that one?
Oh, they absolutely knew it was coming. But I do think that once the administration gets past most of the problems with its website, there's going to be this real balance problem. We know that millions of people have lost their health insurance, and we know that others have actually signed up for health insurance under Obamacare, some for the first time. And the question as the new year arrives is going to be, have more people lost their coverage than have gained coverage through Obamacare? I mean, that defeats the entire purpose of the Affordable Care Act, a very, very hard point to defend against if you're a Democrat.
Well, they put on a happy face about it. Do you think that all in all, with even the sort of the bumps in the road, that although they could see the problems with the health side, that they are satisfied we're on the right track? Well, or is that just some sort of happy face for us?
Democrats decided to argue that the only problems with Obamacare were the website problems. They conceded that the website was a mess, but that once that gets fixed, Obamacare is fine. What Republicans have said is that there are structural aspects of Obamacare that are going to mean continued higher premiums, higher deductibles, narrower doctor's choice, narrower prescription drug choices, all of this stuff for patients as we go forward. And I think what you're going to see in 2014 is which side has the stronger argument.
Steve, this healthcare was passed in 2010. Did they get started right away on the website, or did they drag their feet? I mean, what in the world, how did they get to this mess?
Well, I mean, you go and you go back and review the testimony. They claim that they were starting on the website, that they were working on these problems from the very beginning. But it obviously that work intensified over the past several months. Clearly they didn't do enough. Clearly they didn't have enough backstops. Clearly they didn't do the kind of testing that they had said under oath, in front of Congress, that they were doing. They didn't do the things that they said they were doing. So that's a problem. It was a problem. It will continue to be a problem. But I think there are many other problems they're going to be facing as you look into the immediate future. You have a situation where if you go back to the beginning of 2013, this was a theoretical issue. Americans sort of understood that this was coming, but they didn't exactly understand what it was going to mean to them. In the latter stages of 2013, Americans saw that, in fact, this will affect many people who didn't think that they were going to be affected. People who got cancellation notices, people who saw premium hike, people who are looking at higher deductibles. What's going to happen in the new year is you're going to have a whole new set of people who either get additional cancellation notice. You're going to have people whose employer-provided coverage will be changing in potentially very significant ways. You're going to have people who show up at a doctor, and there may be doctors who don't know the patient, who don't know if the patient has coverage, people who think they have coverage but they don't have coverage. And what we've seen is a gradual shift from the theoretical to the very real. And the problems at the beginning of the new year, I think, are going to be so significant and so real for everyday Americans, including people who haven't been paying very close attention until this point. They will have to pay attention now heading into the new year.
Elise, how much is this I mean, when that was passed, it was a little bit of follow the leader. The Democrats were told to vote for this, and nobody read the particular bill. You're on the Hill every single day. How angry are the Democratic members of Congress, House and Senate, now that they figured out what's in it and the impact?
Oh, they're very angry primarily at the White House because they feel like the administration has not done a good job in either rolling out the law or promoting it to the public. Relationships between Capitol Hill and the other side of Pennsylvania Avenue are at an all-time low as we enter the new year, and these Democrats are highly frustrated because they know that this is going to be an issue for them in the midterm elections. Republicans are going to take this to the bank as much as they can, and Democrats are scared.
Have to remember, when President Obama promised that if you like your coverage, you can keep it, Democrats did too. There are a lot of them who are on record, on video, making that same promise.